Okay, sorry, I had to end the last video abruptly. But anyway, back to where I was leaving off on my top five video games of all time. Number three, Return of the King, Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King on PlayStation 2. Hack and slash game based on the movie, and you know, a lot of people like the Two Towers more than the Return of the King, but for me, I think Return of the King's better just because it just added more of what you wanted from the Two Towers. Like the Two Towers was a short game, and Return of the King was also short, but it was at least a bit longer. They added more characters, more levels, more things to unlock, and so it just it gave you more of a reason to come back to the game and added to the replayability. Um, and it's hard to say if I would have liked that game as a kid if it wasn't based on Lord of the Rings. Obviously, having the connection that I do with the characters and stuff helps me like it more than if that wasn't the case. But for me, I mean, um, it was just so much fun playing that game. And I can safely say that's probably my favorite game on PlayStation 2 that I played growing up. Uh, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say about that game. And over the years, just a side note, over the years, Lord of the Rings has had a lot of games in the series. Obviously, Battle for Middle Earth 2 are the RTS games that were on PC, and then Battle for Middle Earth 2 was also on Xbox 360. I remember there was Lord of the Rings Conquest, I think it was, came out in like 2009 or 2010, and that was the game that was supposed to be like Star Wars Battlefront, but with Lord of the Rings characters, and I was so excited for that, and then that game was trash apparently. Um, and over the years, there's been a lot of Lord of the Rings games, and it's nice to see that just in the last few years we had Shadow of Mordor, which had like a lot of Game of the Year awards and stuff like that. So it's nice to see that Lord of the Rings, at least in recent years, has been getting more recognition, kind of, sort of, for the games that it's been putting out there. I know War in the North. I actually own that game. That was another one that I liked. But yeah, sorry to go off on a tangent on Lord of the Rings, but yeah, Return of the King is my third favorite game of all time. Favorite game I played on PlayStation 2 growing up. Uh, and yeah, it's one of the games on the list I actually went back to in recent years just to check to see if it was still fun, and damn sure it is still fun. Uh, so that's my number three. Number two is the game that I put the most hours into in high school with over 200 hours. It was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Um, and yeah, I just remember getting that game for Christmas in 2009. And it's interesting because I had one of my best friends, he was obsessed with Modern Warfare 1 when that game came out, but I was a huge Halo fan. So, he was always telling me, oh man, after Modern Warfare 1 came out, he was like, oh, Halo's not that good, man. Like, Call of Duty's doing it so much better. And I was like, what? No, it can't be better than Halo, man. And then I remember in summer of 2009, which was when I got my Xbox 360, I borrowed Modern Warfare 1 from him, really liked it. I was like, okay, I don't think this is that much better than Halo, but I really like it, and I can see why people, rate this game as high as they do. And um, it convinced me enough to want to get Modern Warfare 2 that year when it came out, and I got it for Christmas. And I remember leading up to the release of that game, um, I I was like going on the wiki page for Call of Duty and looking at the perks and the guns and the maps and the gameplay types, and I was like, oh, these are the things I'm going to do when the game comes out, and I was just nerding out over it, and then the game came out, and that was all I played for months and months and months until the next November. Obviously I played other games during that time, but as far as multiplayer goes, that was the only thing I was doing during that time was Modern Warfare 2. And I played so much of it until the next year when Black Ops came out, Black Ops 1. I put a lot of time into that too, but not as much as I did with Modern Warfare 2. And I'll always remember so many things about that game: the perks, the kill streaks, the maps, the gameplay types, the like call signs and emblems, like everything. That game has such a special place in my heart for how addicting it was, and just so like I said, I just remember so much about that game. If anyone out here is watching this who was a big Call of Duty fan, you'll know, the different kinds of guns that you had. There was the perks like Scavenger, Bling, Sleight of Hand, Stopping Power, Ninja. You had the death streaks like Martyrdrome and Painkiller, and then these maps like Scrapyard, High Rise, Invasion, Terminal, of course, Wasteland, Estate, Favela. Like these are all things that I'm just thinking of off the top of my head, and I haven't played this game in years, but I just remember so much of it, and put over 200 hours into it. Love that game. Never even really touched the single player. Okay, that's not true. I played like the first like 3 levels of single player, but then I just like never went back to it, and just kept playing the multiplayer. And I remember feeling guilty sometimes, like, man, maybe I should try the single player because it's probably pretty good, but I'm already having so much fun on the multiplayer, and I'm getting my single player fix from other amazing single player games, that I'm not naming in this video, like Red Dead Redemption and Assassin's Creed 2 and any of these single player games that came out around that time. But yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 for me was a big deal, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. And then number 1 on my list, I mentioned a little bit ago how much of a Halo fan I was. Number 1, I'm going to give it to Halo 3. And what's interesting is I think if this game came out a few years earlier, like a couple years earlier than it did or a couple years later than it did, it probably wouldn't be on this list. But for me, it was very much a time and a place kind of thing. Because I was born in 1994, so this game came out in 2007 when I was 13, and I guess as a kid I was like somewhat sheltered, so I didn't really like play rated M games before I was a teenager, and so Halo 3 was like my first rated M game that I had played at my house, and I don't even understand really why Halo is rated M. It's not that graphic of a game, but for me, Halo 3, I just have so many memories playing that game at friends' houses. It was also the first multiplayer game. Again, this was pre-Call of Duty that, for me at least, it was the first multiplayer game where I like really cared about like my kill-death ratio and was paying attention to the weapons and the maps and stuff like that. There's so many things that came out of Halo 3, like the whole MLG scene that was happening with Halo, and Machinima on YouTube, and RB and the Chief, which was a series that I watched on YouTube back in the day. It was like really funny, surrounding Halo. And I just remember playing that game so much as a kid, as a teenager, and I don't know how well the game holds up today. I have no idea if the servers are even still online. They probably are, I guess. I probably should have checked that before making this video, but yeah, Halo 3 is probably my favorite game of all time, just because of where I was in my life at the time, what that game meant to me. And I'm trying to think of what else to say about it. I mean, again, it was a time and place thing. If Call of Duty had come out beforehand, I probably wouldn't even be that big of a Halo fan. I never played Halo 1 or Halo 2. Again, I grew up with a PlayStation 2. I never had an Xbox. And of course, Halo 3 had the Forge mode where you could create your own levels, and the Theater mode where you could record your gameplay and like upload it, which, nowadays sounds like not that big of a deal because you can do that in a lot of games, but back then it was a pretty big deal. And Halo 3 in 2007, September of 2007, I think that game came out. It was a game that sold a lot of Xbox 360s. A lot of people, didn't have an Xbox 360 before that game, and then because Master Chief is like Xbox's main mascot, that sold a lot of 360s. But yeah, I mean, just playing, on my favorite maps like The Pit, Last Resort, what's the one map? I know there's maps like Guardian, High Ground, that's the one map I was thinking of. And the vehicles in that game are incredible too. Like, that's something that Halo, I think, has always done a little bit better than like Call of Duty and stuff, is the vehicles in Halo, like the Ghost and the Banshee, the Warthog. Those are all classic vehicles that are just fun to control and play around with the map in. And of course the weapons, shotgun, sniper rifle, the Needler, Spartan laser, rocket launcher, all that stuff was so much fun. And yeah, I can't really think of anything more to say about Halo other than it's, again, probably my favorite game of all time. And it's weird to say that because I haven't played this game in years. I haven't played this game probably in a good 5 years almost. Yeah, like 5 years or so, but game that means a lot to me. So yeah, those I would say are my top 5 favorite games of all time. I'm just gonna give some honorable mentions right now. Red Dead Redemption, probably the best single player experience I played in high school. Can't wait for Red Dead Redemption 2. We know that game is gonna come out maybe within the next year, even though they haven't announced it yet. Games like on PlayStation 2, things like NBA Street Volume 2. That game was so much fun. I played that a lot in college, actually, when I brought down my PlayStation 2. In my dorm room. Super Smash Bros. Melee. So much fun with that game. Pokemon Yellow was like one of my first gaming experiences. My sister had the Pokemon Red version, and then I had Pokemon Yellow. And just real quick, my number 4 game on this list was Kingdom Hearts. I was just reminded something. That was a game that me and my sister played a lot of, was Kingdom Hearts 1. So that was kind of something that we bonded over in a way. Other games on the list, Assassin's Creed 2, that came out in high school. For me, really loved it. The Last of Us, of course, is amazing. That's a game that I've never played, but I've actually watched all the cutscenes online for the game. If you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see a Last of Us playlist that I have of all different sorts of Last of Us stuff. And if you're, you know, if you're a fan of anything Last of Us, I would encourage you to go through that playlist that I have on my channel, because there's probably some things in there that you haven't seen, that I just found on YouTube a couple years ago. But yeah, those, I guess, are some of the games, that I loved playing growing up. Again, my top 5 list: number 5, Left 4 Dead 1; number 4, Kingdom Hearts 1; number 3, Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King on PlayStation 2. Number 2 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and number 1 is Halo 3. And again, this list changes all the time. And I could probably make this video 6 months to a year from now, and my list would be different. But that's where it's going to be right now. So, thank you so much for watching. A very long video. I'm hitting the 16-minute mark on this part 2. Part 1 was like 9 minutes, I think, or something. I'll find out later. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below what your favorite games of all time are. Did you like some of these games that I mentioned, either on my list or in the honorable mentions? And what these games meant to you. And yeah, feel free to leave a comment, message me, like, subscribe, share, dislike it, hate it, constructive criticism. Do whatever you want to do, just do you. I hope if you're watching this right now, you're doing well. Have a great day, have a great week, have a great month, have a great life. Be happy, and yeah, see you in the next video. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be, but I'm always thinking of ideas and stuff I want to put out there. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.